Hello and welcome to this video, using roles. As we progress with the use of playbooks, you may find that as your playbook expands, you ended up covering a variety of different areas and utilizing templates and variables from different sources. For manageability and ease of use, roles are an excellent approach in Ansible. Roles allow you to structure and group your playbook tasks and associated components into a role for ease of consumption. In this video, we'll take a look at using roles, the role structure, how to create roles with Ansible Galaxy, how to move an existing project to a role execution, role parameters, and role dependencies. There's a variety of benefits for using roles. Larger projects are made easier to manage. Roles are grouped with logical structure, making them easier to share. Roles can be written to specific requirements, for example, a web server, a DNS role, or a patching role. Roles can be developed independently, in parallel, by different entities. Templates, vars, and files have designated directories, and inclusion is simplified. Roles can have dependencies on other roles, therefore providing automated inclusion. A role is quite simply a directory structure, with the top-level directory defining the name of the role. We have the default section. This is where you would include default variables for the role. Files, as we've seen before, if you're using the like of the copy or script module, this is where the module will look for any associated files. Handlers, so handler context is included here. Meta, this is where we can include settings for the role and dependencies. The readme.md, if you're going to publish a role, the best practice is to have a readme markdown file here with the information on the role. Tasks is where we include the tasks associated with the role. Templates is where you would put your files for Jinja 2 template in. Tests is where you can write unit tests for your role. And when using the likes of Galaxy to install roles, tests can be run as part of the installation process. Lastly, vars are where we would like to include our role vars. Step into revision 1 in the following directory. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our earlier playbook for Nginx and convert this to an Ansible role. So we start with the following directory structure. As discussed, roles quite simply are essentially a directory structure. We could create this structure manually, but the easiest way is to actually use the Ansible-Galaxy command, which can be used for creating the skeleton structure with ease. For this example, revision 2 will be your starting point if you wish to follow along yourself. I'm demonstrating this in revision 3, where I will provide the final outcome, so you can compare your revision 2 updates with my revision 3 if you encounter any problems. Okay, so I'm stepping into revision 3, you're going to be stepping into revision 2. And the first thing we're going to do is initialize our Nginx role. Okay, that's created successfully, and if we have a look at that, you can see we've got an outline of the directories that we previously talked about on the last slide. What we're going to do is start moving our content into the right places. So, first of all, we're going to move the handlers section of the playbook into handlers/main.yaml. Okay, and we no longer need that comment or that section. Okay, great. Next, we're going to move the existing templates that we have into the Nginx templates directory. And then we'll get rid of the templates directory. We're going to move the existing files into the files directory within Nginx. And again, we get rid of the files directory. Let's move the logos variables. And what we want to do here is copy the current vars logos.yaml. And this should go to nginx vars main.yaml. And let's just check that and see if we need to clean anything up. So the only thing we need to do here is remove the excess dashes and dots. Where I've catted that in, we've got some from where we had this originally in the file. Okay, that looks good. Let's get rid of that vars directory. Okay, and we've got the playbook tasks, which we need to now move to the tasks main.yaml within the Nginx role. So, okay, and we've got our task section there. Okay, so that's our tasks moved over. Let's save this. And then if we just go back to that previous file, we can just remove this section. Okay, so while we're here, we'll just clean this up as well. One other thing I just remembered, if we go back to our tasks, and we don't actually need to specify the templates directory. So if we just go down there to templates, we can take this off. Okay, and we should be good there. Let's just save this. And lastly, we're going to update our playbook so that it includes our role. Okay, great. If we look through at our directory structure now, we have the following, and let's see how we actually get on. Okay, great. So that's working as it was before, but now we have the benefit of it being structured in a role for greater reuse. Arguably, the web page itself could be a separate role. Let's do this. If you want to follow along with this, start in revision 4. Otherwise, revision 5 will have the final result. I'm going to go into revision 5, and like I said, if you want to follow along with this, go into revision 4. Okay, so we're going to do an Ansible Galaxy init for the web app. Let's move the templates from the Nginx role into the web app role. Let's move the files as well. For the variables, what we're going to do is we're going to swap out the variables from the web app role with those in the Nginx role. So first of all, let's take a copy of these and we'll save them in temp. Then let's copy the Nginx ones over the web app ones. And then let's copy those ones back from temp. Okay, great. Okay, so both our Nginx and our web apps role at the moment have exactly the same tasks. Let's edit these so that the Nginx ones are specific to Nginx and the web app ones are specific to the web app. Okay, so I'm going to take from the bottom down to there. And I'll save this. And then in the next file, we put the specific web app tasks. Okay, let's just rename our Nginx playbook because it's now Nginx and a web app playbook. And then we'll edit that. And then for the roles, let's add in the other role. And we save that. And let's give this a try. You can see these are prefixed there with Nginx, and now we have the web app role kicking in. Okay, great, so that worked as expected. We now have a nice abstraction that we can build on in the future if we need to create an Nginx web server on Ubuntu or CentOS. We can use this role. And we have a role that we can deploy our web app at any moment. At the moment, it is quite generic, and the destination in this case is supplied by the variables we have in group vars. Let's update this role so that it expects the install path for the web app as a parameter. If you go into revision 6, and if you look at the following file, we've set the default path based on the standard Nginx defaults, which is what Ubuntu uses. CentOS, however, uses a different default path. If we take a look at our tasks in the web app role, We can see that these have been updated accordingly with the use of target_dir. Now, if we execute this, it's going to succeed for Ubuntu, but not for CentOS. Fortunately, Ansible has us covered here, and what we're going to do is make use of the alternative format for specifying roles. This allows us to specify and pass parameters. So, no changes to what we've done, but let's see how we can override this. If you go into revision 7, and we bring up the Nginx web app playbook, you can see that we're specifying an alternative format for the role. We're using the curly brackets, we're specifying the role, and then we're specifying this directory with the use of Jinja2. So we're saying if the Ansible distribution is CentOS, then use this value of user share nginx HTML. Otherwise, if the Ansible distribution is Ubuntu, use /var/www/html. Let's give that a try. Okay, great, that's looking a lot better. For now, as we only have one role here for the web server, we have a dependency on the Nginx role. Let's set web app so that it has a dependency on the Nginx role. We do this through the use of the meta context. Step into revision 8 and cat the following file. This file has a lot of information, but I want to draw your attention to the bottom bit there where we have the dependencies. So here we've added a dependency on Nginx. If we take a look here at our playbook, we no longer have the Nginx role specified because it's a dependency of the web app role. Now, if we run this, you can see there that it's executing the Nginx role, even though we haven't actually specified it. Okay, that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed that one. Roles are an extremely powerful part of Ansible, and I hope you enjoy making use of them. Please join me in the next section, using Ansible with cloud services and containers.